Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast in your ears, nesting in the synapses of your brain. Ready to talk more baseball? Remember, you can always find us on our social media, like Twitter and Blue Sky at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And you can always find us on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Be sure to check out the Fanatics link. And already you can start getting gear for a couple of playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. Of course, we're going to check in and see what's happened with the Dodgers. But first, let's see what happened when the Angels went to the Emerald City. So back at the trade deadline, the Angels pretty much, I don't think this is how they'd want to characterize it, but they pretty much said, we're just going to play out the string. They didn't really make any moves. They got a couple of relievers, veteran relievers, but other than that, they didn't really trade for anybody and or make any moves that would help them potentially win anything.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like, well, the team that we have is the team that will get us there, or they won't.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, how else can you say it? Because they didn't really do any, they didn't really make any moves, and they haven't made any moves, and they just keep calling up, guys that were drafted, this year, and it seems like it, but
those are the only guys that they have that are ready.
Right.
Because any other guys in their system are not ready. I mean, They pulled up some pitchers. They pulled up they called up Caden Dana again, who's he hasn't really gotten better.
No.
Since last year. So he's not really been. I mean, he's given them some innings. So at this point, you're just trying to get from game to game anyway. And then, the other thing that didn't work out well for them in Seattle is Joe Adele having issues with his vertigo, and that kept him out for the first couple of games, really limited at bats for him up in Seattle. And then Zach Neto plays one game and then is out, and due to issues from an injury sustained back in August. And so,
was he just playing through it, and it got to a point where it's like, I just can't do it anymore.
I wonder if it was something like, maybe that, and maybe they started talking about it, going, well, we're not going anywhere. And if he's still having issues, it doesn't seem to be getting better. Let's just call it a season. Same kind of thing with Nolan Shanuel. He was trying to play through the issue and then exacerbated that issue with his arm. But he's apparently doing rehab in Salt Lake and will be finding his way back before the end of the season. We're down to the last few games, the last 12 games, really 2 weeks of the season.
Crazy.
And we talked about the Angels and the Twins. So they go to Seattle and get swept by a team that's meaningful games for Seattle.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to keep a lead on the Asterix. And, of course, if they can't do that, they do, does look like they're going to be a wild card but they want to make sure they get in there. They'd rather win the division.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think that would always be there. Most teams would want to win the division.
So the big highlight for the Halos was in Game 1, where Mike Trout finally hits a home run.
Finally, number 399 took him 29
25, I think, 25
yeah, I
games.
mean, it was a long time. Such a drought for Trout.
27 was his longest
Mm-hmm.
homerless streak. So he beats that, but then even you had said it. He likes to hit there, and it looked like that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I really thought he would hit number 400 there, and maybe even hit additional, maybe 401, because he does hit well in T-Mobile Park. But this season's version of Mike Trout, who has been healthy for the most part, I mean, did have a stint on the IL, but is not the same. He's not the same player.
Now, there's a lot of talk that maybe part of his power is that knee injury that kept him out. And the bone bruise, I guess, is what it was. And he says, I haven't read the full articles, but he says, I want to be MVP caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know what it's going to take for him to get there, but that's the one difference. We've said, has he become Rendonish? But he always says, Rendon says, I really don't care anymore. He's open and honest about the fact that he's like, I could just retire. Mike hasn't said that. Now,
No, I don't think that he is. I mean, maybe he gives off those vibes, but I think he does want to play. I think he wants to be better. But again, as you mentioned, what will it take to get him back to an MVP caliber season?
right.
It's possible, but I think it would be a lot of work in the off season.
Well, you think he had 2 hits in the game, in that game and one of them being the home run, 399. And he still managed in 6 at bats to strike out half of them.
Yeah.
So while he's getting on base, he didn't walk that game. Had the 1 home run and another hit. He's just not really. He's definitely not the Mike Trout of old. And this team. The one thing that you can figure, this team is going to be. They're going to be better record wise than they were last year. They hit the 99. Now, you know me, if there's a record close by, even if it's a dubious record, you might as well go for it.
Yeah.
Like the White Sox last year. Go for it. I don't think that the Rockies, I think they went on too much of a winning streak at one point in the season that they're able to surpass.
Dang Rockies. What?
But the Angels can break the single season strikeout record by a team. They only need about 13 more per game over the next 12 games or so. So if about 13 more per game, they will be able to grit that record.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think they average 16.
Something like that. And they had 17.
And that's a game.
In the first game against Seattle.
Yeah.
They had 17 in that. They scored 6 runs. It wasn't like, and that game went into innings.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a good game, but, they came up short. But they
still struck out 17 times.
Yeah.
The next time up, they only struck out 11, but I think it was because they only scored 1 run. So they didn't come to the plate as often. No, see, that game they were up there innings 6 times each, give or take. This was a standard, like about 4 times per game.
In that first game, Seattle became the first team to play consecutive games that lasted at least 12 innings since MLB introduced the Ghost Runner in 2020. So you would think maybe, I mean, yeah, however many, I mean, multiple consecutive games Seattle's finding themselves in and coming out on top as it was in this one.
Right. So they, like I said, the Mariners sweep them, and they kind of hold on to their spot over the Asterix. The Asterix and the Mariners will play this weekend. The Asterix and the Rangers are playing, and to start the week, and you would think that would be a good thing for the Rangers to gain some ground if they can beat the Asterix, and that would also help the Mariners. The Angels didn't help anybody out but the Mariners up there by getting swept, and they finish up the season with the Astros. So we'll see where we're at in that last in the last series,
Right.
whether or not if how much it matters. The Angels can definitely cause problems for them if they play well versus the Asterix.
Well, and it will be interesting because the last series of the season for Seattle is against the Dodgers.
Right. So the question will be, will the Dodgers be playing for something? Will they have potentially clinched a spot in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Will they be still trying to get into the playoffs?
Right.
We'll talk about them coming up. With Zetto being out, they called up Denzer Guzman, the number 9 prospect in the Angels system, and he comes in to play shortstop and will finish off the season there. Final game saw Oswald Peraza, who was playing third base and then some first base, him with the home run. Christian Moore, who also came back up because of some injuries, hit a couple of home runs and won in that last game. The only reason I really looked at this last game was that it was Cal Raleigh hit number 54, which tied him for the most home runs in a season by a switch hitter with
Mickey Mantle.
Yes, correct.
You know how you have those moments where you're like, I know this, but then you doubt yourself. So I should have said it with more confidence. Mickey Mantle.
Yes. Yeah, and if you'd been wrong, you would have been confidently wrong.
Wrong, right?
But you weren't. See,
I
you
wasn't.
were hesitantly correct.
Right.
So that leads me to believe you were not. You didn't know really.
I did. I did know, but I do that sometimes. I doubt. Like, yeah, that's right. I know that's right, but then you answer it like question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So the Angels are going to go to Milwaukee and then to Colorado. So Milwaukee, they're probably going to get swept unless because Milwaukee was the first team to get a playoff spot. However, not the first team to clinch their division. But the Angels are shooting for that Twins record. The Twins struck out 1,654 times just a couple seasons ago in 2023. The Angels look like they very well could break that record.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the attendance at Twins games is about that amount that you just said.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and I know things are kind of slowing down in Anaheim because once again, they're eliminated. 11th season in a row of no playoffs.
Yeah.
Another losing record. and which I think is like 10 seasons in a row, something like that, of a losing record. And so they got to go for the whatchamacallit, the strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, have something to play for.
So but I noticed I got a email from like StubHub or one of those Game Ticks or one of those things,
Yeah.
and it said, "Oh yeah, here's the get tickets for the upcoming Kansas City Angels series, starting as low as $4." And
Woo,
so I looked,
$4.
and the $4 are upper decks or out in the outfield. And so I
Yeah.
looked to see what I could get behind, like around behind the plate. Well, I could be between home plate and the dugout, up a little bit, a few rows, for $42 a piece. Normally, those tickets are almost 200
Wow.
a piece.
Yeah, that's a
I was
deal.
like maybe I need to go because I haven't
Well,
been to Angel
right.
Stadium this season.
Nope, you've been to Dodger Stadium, but not Angels,
Yep.
and you need to go because it's live baseball, and we're proponents of that.
Yes, indeed. So I
And
might
if
have to
you can
look at
get
that.
those seats at that price, yeah,
Right?
totally,
Yeah.
totally go.
So yeah, might have to do that. We'll see how that works because it's a middle, and I'd only want to go because they're playing Kansas City, and then they
Hmm.
play the Asterix. I've seen them play the Asterix a lot of times. I just soon go see them play. Get to see Bobby Witt and
Right.
Salvador Perez, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, uh, Yastrzemski.
Oh, that's right.
He's
Yeah.
there. Not that
Forgot
I would.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to go see the Angels strike out.
Yes.
I haven't seen. I don't know who might be pitching. Seth Lugo, maybe Michael Lorenzen. Who might pitch for the Royals.
You
But
could have, how they have when your pitcher, when they get strikes, and like you see this a lot um, in San Francisco, and they put the K's out there, but instead
they
you could put it
for the
just for
Angels.
the Angels. Yeah.
I like it. I don't think they'll do it, but I like.
I mean,
it.
I think it would get the crowd involved because you gotta, root for something, and
Hey,
then
it's a record.
It's
Let's
a
go for the
record
record,
because your team name is in the record books,
right?
so
See?
does it matter, like what what it's for? No, your name, you go down in history.
That's right.
Because then you can have these stats, like I just said, Seattle is the first team. You could be like, I don't know, the what team do I want to say? The A's or the Marlins are the first team, are the team that they struck out X amount of times since the Angels did it in 2025.
If they
That kind of
really
thing.
go crazy and are striking out like 16, 17 times per game,
Mm-hmm.
they may blow past the record.
Right.
And people will start doing like strikeouts or complete games or even certain records is like, will this ever be broken?
Right.
Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak, will it ever be broken? And then they'll start saying, will a team ever strike out as much as the Angels did in 2025? So
Yeah.
every time somebody's going to
You
bring
always
it up.
get mentioned.
That's right. I
Always.
think that they need to, that's the direction they need to go.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Just embrace it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Any players of the week
No,
for this?
I
I'm going to
couldn't
give it to
bring.
Taylor Ward just because he hit a couple
Well,
of home runs and
okay. I'll give it to Logan Davidson, who hit his first major league home run.
Okay.
I'll do that.
He was pretty bad for
the rest of the
it,
time.
but yeah, why not?
At this point.
And before we go, the Angels are officially in last place.
Yeah.
The A's have moved up just a game or two, but the A's are playing the Red Sox, while the Angels are playing the Brewers. So who knows? They may flip back and forth before the end of it.
Right.
The Mariners have to play the A's and the Dodgers on their way out of this, along with the Asterisks. So that's going to be this weekend. Is going to be the series really to watch. Is because that one they're playing each other. Nobody else is playing each other. You know, the Dodgers and the Padres are done for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both having issues. Can't seem to, play very well. We'll find out how they did, coming up here in just a second. But the Angels are exactly where they belong. Last place.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Last time we talked about the Dodgers, they were getting ready to host the Colorado Rockies for 3, and this is their final series of the season as well. Question is can the Dodgers reverse what's been going on with them? Throwing near no-hitters only to lose in the last inning.
Right. In this series, yes, because they swept the Rockies as they should have. But again, when you have like, oh, the Rockies are coming in, it should be they're going to win the series. But can be a trap because the Rockies, are way below 500, like 270 is their winning percentage. And, but they do come in and
going into the first game, they were, had half the wins that the Dodgers at 80.
Yeah.
40.
Yep. First game, another no-hitter into the 8th. Tyler Glasnow was on the mound. And in this game, he had 11 strikeouts. But in this game, you had Blake Trinan and then Tanner Scott, the combo that nobody wants to order. And they were like, oh, they did okay. But it's like it's against the Rockies, but the same thing happened. It's against the Orioles. They're very similar, but they win that game. Second game, Emmett Sheehan pitches 7 innings, has 9
Did
strikeouts.
You forget that was a no-hitter he was throwing?
Yes, also another no-hitter.
He had given up a run through that because he had some walk issues, but it was a no-hitter.
Right. Yeah. Another one. And then, Mookie Betts hit a home run. Teoscar Hernandez hit 2 home runs in that game. And then Snell's on the mound for the third game, has 11 strikeouts, pitched 6 innings. So good starts all the way around from the starters. And the bullpen was able to, keep
Alex
it together.
Vesia, yes, but even Kirby Yates came in and gave up a couple of hits and a run.
Yeah.
Once again here, if not for a couple of home runs, like you said, from Teo, Freddie, Mookie, and some offense, and no offense really from the Rockies. It's the same thing. Came in. This time you don't look at it as closely because it wasn't another blown no-hitter.
Right. Yeah. So you're like, well, they came in and gave up some hits, gave up a run, but they still won the game. Right. It was 7-2 in that second game. The next game it was 9-0. And Mookie Betts hit a grand slam in this game, and it's his 7th of his career, which I felt like should be more than 7.
Yeah, you would think, but I guess.
But he's not a power hitter. I mean, we saw that in the home run derby, when he participated. Right. But yeah, so number 7 there, and Teo had another home run. And I think you talked about it last week about, Mookie Betts was like, okay, I'm not looking at my stats. I'm not looking at what I'm doing. What can I do to help the team? We've seen a total difference in his, how he has been at the plate. He seems he's Mookie again, right? He's hitting and he's playing really well, and because he doesn't have that burden, I guess, on his shoulders. And then the same would go for Teoscar Hernandez. The same thing. If he has that same mindset, then we're seeing, where he had a 3-for-4 game. In that second game, he was 1-for-5 with the home run in the third game. So that's good to see, but that's just two guys.
Well, but those were two guys that were having problems.
Yes, so and they've turned it around
for them. So you need a couple other guys to start picking it up, and maybe now that a lot of these guys are all coming back off of the IL, that maybe you'll start seeing it. I don't know, or maybe not.
Yeah.
In this game, in this one, the 9-0 game, I will agree that the bullpen looked much better.
Yes.
Even though Michael Kopech walked 3.
Yeah.
He only needed to get, he only got 1 out. He walked 3. They were able to, Vesey was able to hold that. He inherited all 3 runners and was able to get out of it. And then Kirby Yates and Anthony Banda both pitched their inning, and no runs, no hits. So the only 2 hits in the game were given up by Blake Snell.
Yeah. So a good series for the Dodgers. They sweep, and you think, okay, maybe they're coming back around, and then they go to San Francisco. So they go to San Francisco.
Which we know it's going to be a tougher match because, set of games, because the Giants are a better team. The Giants they've had their issues recently, but they had picked it up and were playing better.
Right.
Their pitching was getting better. And so who knows, over the 3, and this is the first of 7 that they played to end the season with. And they're going up against Justin Verlander, who somewhere here in this last part of the season has gotten a drink from the fountain of youth, I guess, because he's really picked it up and started pitching better. And in fact, we'll go 7 in this first game.
Yeah. 7 innings. He gave up 4 hits, just 1 run. He had 4 walks and 4 strikeouts, but this guy has just hit his 20 years of service in MLB. 20 years. He's been around. But this series, they had Justin Verlander, you had Logan Webb, and you had Robbie Ray. So, and you're playing in San Francisco. And I think for the first time in a long time, in several seasons, that rivalry, because there's always been a rivalry, with the Dodgers and the Giants, of course. But I think it's amplified this season. It seems to be
definitely more than the last couple, when it's been the Dregs have been the team that really.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's, that's fun, because that's a historic rivalry, and it's fun to watch. So in the first series, it goes innings, goes 10, and it's 1-0 Giants, until, of all people, Michael Conforto ties the game with a home run in the 7th. So they go along, everything's going great. They're tied, battling back and forth. And Tanner Scott comes in and gives up a grand slam to Patrick Bailey, a game-ending grand slam with 1 out in the 10th. And this is what's interesting. Tanner Scott does this, and guess who pitched for the Dodgers that night?
Yoshi.
Yeah, Yamamoto. So is there something,
And not only did he pitch, but he's pitched another spectacular game.
Yeah, 10 strikeouts in this game. Goes
He
7
pitched
innings.
7, just like Verlander did, and only gave up 1 hit.
Yeah, and 1 walk. I mean, he was dealing out there, and here comes the bullpen. Here comes Tanner Scott. Like,
well, it was Jack Dreyer came out.
Yeah,
did okay, struck out 3, gave up just 1 hit. Trinan came in, walked 1, gave up a run.
Yeah,
and he had, and then Tanner Scott inherited 1 runner from Blake Trinan, who, and then
again, I don't think that combo's working. That's not. It's not a good combo.
That T to T, Trinan to Tanner.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. We don't like it. We need it off the menu because it doesn't work. So that's a tough loss, especially for Tanner Scott, who baseball does hate you, and Dodger fans do too.
If you look at just the score, though, if without knowing, how the game went, you would think, oh, okay, the Giants, they controlled this one 5-1, but they really didn't.
No,
until they walked it off in innings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely when Trinan and Scott, the combo there, it's not a happy meal when they come out. So the next night, the Dodgers win 13-7, but it's back and forth. Logan Webb is on the mound for the Giants, and he pitches 4 innings. He gives up 10 hits, 6 runs, had 5 strikeouts, had 2 walks. Kershaw's on the mound, but he only goes 3 innings. He gave up 5 hits.
Well, he
4
did
runs.
What he did like the game before that he pitched. 4 runs in the first inning.
Right.
And then he settled down.
Which is, the kind of his MO this year. But it was a back and forth. The score ends up in favor of the Dodgers, but it's, San Francisco
was back and forth. The Dodgers scored 1 in the first inning, and then then they get the 4. The Giants get the 4, and you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
The Dodgers would pick up 2 more in the 3rd, and they kind of break it open in the 6th. I mean, in the 5th with 6 runs. And even though the Giants score 3, they never again took the lead after that. The Dodgers would score 4 more runs between the 6th and the 9th. To take that.
And really, I mean, it was Yates who came in after Henriquez, who pitched in, and he had 3 strikeouts. But Kirby Yates comes in, and he had 3 hits, gave up 3 runs. But then after that, Robleski and Kopech, and they trotted him out again, Tanner Scott, all didn't give up any hits or runs. So Dodgers end up winning this game 13-7. But so you're like, okay, it's the rubber match. Can the Dodgers pull this off? And they looked a lot better in this game. And one thing that stood out to me in this final game when they won 10-2 was there were no home runs. It was all pretty much, it was all small ball. But you had Mookie, who was 3 for 4. He had a double. Teo was 4 for 6. Freeman, who was 3 for 6, had double. And then Tommy Edman was 2 for 5, had 2 RBIs, but also made 2 great catches in the outfield. And when he was playing center.
Don't forget the guy who drove in the most runs.
Oh, who am I forgetting?
Michael Conforto came in and went 3 for 4. He
That's
replaced Alex
right.
Call and went 3
How
for
did I
4 with
forget
3
that?
RBIs. He had the most RBIs on the
He
day.
was player of the game.
He was.
And I think his average went up
over. Yeah, that was
like to 200.
That was where he finally broke 200.
Yeah.
Since like mid-April.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So Conforto, yeah, finally. He's doing something. And he has, he's done some things here and there, but I do think that I have done it, but it's like, he's coming up to bat. Can he play the outfield and somebody bats for him, kind of thing. But we can't overlook that he's not the only issue on the Dodgers.
No.
But he had a good game. He did have a really good game.
That there's a better chance of Conforto coming in and doing something a positive than the bullpen coming in and doing something positive.
Yeah.
Another decent
definitely.
outing from Tyler Glasnow as well.
Yeah. One thing we have talked about with him is going deeper into the games, and he's looked better. And this one, he goes 6 2/3 innings. It struggled a little bit. I think he struggles with his walks. He gave up 4 walks. But he, first pitch strikes are important for him. And I think, that helped. He only had 4 strikeouts, but he looks so much better. Robbie Ray pitched 4 innings, gave up 6 hits and 5 runs, 4 walks as well, and 5 strikeouts. So very similar lines, except, double the hits for Ray that he gave up. So a good ending to the series versus the Giants. They win the series, and you feel like they're turning it around offensively. Bullpen is still shaky because you don't know, you have no idea what you're going to get. And unfortunately now, so it's so inconsistent, but now it's almost like, well, you don't know from night to night. And I think when you look at these games, it's, you can see that, but now it's becoming, you do know what you're going to get because they're becoming predictable.
How many great games have the starters thrown only to have it undone or nearly undone by bad, and I would say even poor management. Stop giving them more time. I know they've got to face 3 batters, but maybe there's somebody else who can get somebody out, and it's not somebody named Trinan or Scott.
Yeah, they don't, just because you think they should go in these innings, they're not. That's just not a good. First, they need to be broken up. That needs to be broken up because they just don't. It just doesn't go well. And
it certainly hasn't.
And you're getting to a point where it's just when a starter is pulled from a game, you just like, well, I'm just going to turn it off now because here comes the bullpen and, we'll probably lose.
I thought we wanted to win this game.
Yeah, right. I thought, what's going on here? And again, Dave Roberts has never managed the bullpen well. I think he did better job last year in the playoffs, but this year, no. And I think too, maybe the Dodgers you kind of get a big head because you're like, well, look who we signed. We signed Tanner Scott. We got Kirby Yates, only for both of them to fall apart. I think a big loss to the bullpen has been Evan Phillips, who had Tommy John surgery.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a huge. Alex Vesia, who's had always been pretty much lights out. You again is not is unpredictable because you don't know where he's going to be.
Right. The one thing though with Vesey is that I don't hear any of these other players. Baseball hates me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting the pitches in there. I wasted this, that was bad. But that's Trinan and Tanner Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I get you say, you know what, tonight wasn't my night. But Vesia, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, said, I want the ball.
Yeah.
And he went out there and did his job.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked for it and he stepped up. And I don't feel like all that time that Mookie, I don't know what's going on. I guess it's in God's hands now.
Yeah.
Teo, I'm working on it, but I really don't know. And once they finally said, okay, they've come around. But those excuses is what this whole team feels like.
Yeah, it's just one
And
big
nobody
excuse.
but Vesia has said, I want to make up for what I messed up. Let me fix this. Let me be the pitcher that I can be. And he comes in and he was. And that's not a lot of that happening with these others.
I would say Vesia, and then of course I would say Shohei, who pretty much is telling the front office, listen, I'll play here, I'll play there, I'll play anywhere to help this team out. And he's doing everything, and it's not fair.
Well, even with his slump, which he's going through, he still has nearly 50 home runs. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to break that.
Oh yeah.
And
I would think.
And who knows how much more, but he's contributing, to the team. He's hitting around 280. He's scoring. He's already scored the most runs, I think, or he's very close to being a Dodger record.
Yeah.
For the most runs. So,
and it's only his second season with the Dodgers.
Right. And
already breaking those records.
Right. And how many Dodgers in the history of the Dodgers since the late 1800s have hit over 50 home runs?
I don't know. You have to tell me.
So if he does it again this year, 2 times.
Yeah, right.
It will have happened.
That's it.
Shohei is the only Dodger to ever hit 50 or more home runs in a season.
Yeah, that's it. It's him. And I think too, we can't rely on Shohei all the time. I think
it becomes like basketball teams. You've only got, obviously, basketball, you can go down and have 1 or 2 superstars and some okay side players and do well.
Right.
But it's like early games until the Bulls built a better team around Michael Jordan, the other players would stand there and watch him. Bad times with the Lakers, they'd watch Kobe or they'd watch Magic. Not so much Magic because he always had better players around him.
Right.
But, when that happened, you get to a point where you've got one guy. Well, if everybody's standing around, well, that's okay. Shohei's going to pitch a complete game and hit 11 home runs.
Well,
today.
That's the mindset. I mean, Freddie Freeman said that.
Right.
And even the announcers, even, Joe Davis, Steven Nelson, any of them, if we could just, the Dodgers are trailing. They just need to, this is who's coming up. One of them just needs to get on base so that Shohei can come up to the plate.
Well, it's like last year.
Right.
Only 95 more batters until Shohei.
Right. Exactly.
You're watching the wrong game. Shohei's coming up,
Yeah. And I think you can't just rely on Shohei.
No,
and obviously,
I get it.
No, I get it too. I mean, he's amazing.
I stop whenever I'm going through. There's a lot of times game will be on, any game, and I stop to see what he's going to do.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, he's an amazing player. I just think, and that one thing we also are seeing just from interviews with Dave Roberts is we know Dave Roberts is not putting the lineup together. We know who is supposed to come out of the bullpen. That's why we have that combo of Trinan and Scott. It's the front office. And we've seen this happen before.
And last year, it seemed like it didn't happen as much, if at all. And look what happened.
I felt like they let things happen and they kept their distance. And now this year they're back in it. And it's not good because you're the front office. If you're not in the dugout, you're not in the clubhouse. You can be, but it's not the same because it's just like being in school and you have the main office, like the central office, the main, district office, and then all of the schools, and they really don't know what's happening on a daily basis at a particular school. So then if something, a parent calls, then they're like, well, why didn't you do this and this? I was like, but we did do those things, but they don't see it because they're up here, way up here. And that's how it is with the front office. The front office is way up there in their suite and the Dodgers are in the dugout. The players are in the dugout. And I'd like to see one of the players put together a lineup and see what they would do.
Yeah,
just because they have a better pulse. Clayton. Yeah, definitely.
Freddie, maybe
Freddie. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, there's they don't see it. And what I think it is, as you were talking about that, last year they made their moves. They signed a couple people in the off season, and then they made the moves at the trade deadline, and they didn't really make any moves at this trade deadline,
right?
And so everybody's and now it feels like more than ever since the trade deadline, since they've seen all this bad, they're like, we better take over. They've been playing so badly, we better take over again. And it's not made it better. And I think they're the front office. I think Friedman. Yeah. And what's his name? Gomes.
Yeah.
Are trying to save face somehow.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Cause they just didn't do anything. And right. They're the ones that make the moves. And this time the moves they made aren't panning out.
Yeah, it didn't amount to really anything. And I think they're also hoping that everybody coming back off of the injured list was going to be like, we just got all these people back. We just made all these trades. Look at it. But I don't know what these guys are going to be like when they come back.
Right. I think a good example is Tommy Edman. He has dealt with an ankle injury pretty much the whole season. He did come back, and he's made, some good plays. He's played well, has hit, but he's still not 100%. And Max Muncy came off the IL and then got hit twice. Once in the helmet, in the head, once in the hand. He's okay. But just because they come off the IL doesn't mean that he's going to he's going to be hitting the same or he's going to be playing the same. And so I don't think that you can bank on that.
No.
That shouldn't be your strategy. oh, we're getting so and so back from the IL, so everything will be fine. That's not how it works.
Right. It's not. All right. So the Dodgers head back home for their last homestand. They're going to take on, talk about meaningful games, taking
Yeah.
on Philadelphia. And the Phillies are like real close to clinching the East. They will become the first team to do that if they can. The Dodgers, well, they're a little farther out. At the beginning of the series, they still have like a 10-game magic number to win the West, 5 to get into the playoffs. And unless they can beat up on the Phillies or at least eke out some wins for them, they've got San Francisco coming back for 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so 2 tough teams back to back. If they're, and so even at this point, we're not sure that that they're going to make it to the playoffs. The only thing that's been saving them is the dregs have been playing just as badly.
Yeah, they have been. They've been, battling out for who can lose the worst, I guess, that night in whatever game. And part of me is just like, do the Dodgers even deserve to go to the playoffs this year? And I say no. And also selfishly, obviously, if they go to the playoffs, which probably will happen, but if they go to the playoffs, I'm going to root for them. That doesn't change. But selfishly, I kind of don't want them to go to the playoffs because I don't want to have to go through that misery
of them
losing
out in the first round,
right, out in the first round. That's kind of how I feel.
Well, and that could happen, and like we know, and I think that the team, like the front office, I believe, that those guys, even Doc, I would hope that players feel this way too. But all it's going to take is for them to get in, and then, whatever happens over these last few games, start building the momentum. And they could very well, once they're in the playoffs, there is a chance that they can repeat.
Oh yeah,
Like said, and do you believe that they can? Yes. Is it probable? Right now, it doesn't feel like it.
Exactly. Yes, they totally can. Probably at this point, no. But they do. I've heard other players. I've heard Blake Trinan say this. All of the players. We're a good team, and it's almost as if we could just get to the playoffs. Because that we're a good postseason team. Okay, but just because you get to the playoffs, the way it doesn't magically, a stone isn't turned and you magically start playing great.
Had they're right in some of the things that we've seen. He's correct. They're a good team.
Yes.
You see that they can do offensively. They can score a lot of runs if everybody's on it. The starting pitchers have been incredible this last couple of weeks. And Blake and his buddies are the reason they don't have more wins, that they're not closer to clinching, because they keep blowing. When you blow like 2 or 3 almost no hitters or no hitters to deep in the game, and you come in and you end up losing, what's going on?
Yeah. And I've heard Dave Roberts say they need confidence.
Well,
they're capable, but they need confidence.
I would expect that from a little league team.
Right. Yeah.
These guys get paid a lot of money. They play for the best organization. I was reading, I read Ron Say's book, his biography, and he's talking about what a great, in the 60s and 70s, what a great organization the Dodgers were. They had their own plane.
Yeah.
Nobody had their own plane. The reason players want to go there is because the Dodgers take care of their players.
Yeah.
But what
Right.
I want to know is did all of these updated things that they did to the clubhouse that helped sell Roki Sasaki on coming there, is it making them soft? Maybe they need to have a cruddy locker room. Maybe
That's
if
right.
we win, they'll give us a better locker room. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
they
you
need
did,
like
and
the
we did, and what happened?
Yeah. Now they don't need anything. Yeah, they need one of those locker rooms with the old styles, the sinks where it's kind of not completely attached to the wall anymore. It still works, but it's kind of
Kind of
fallen.
moves a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the pipes are all full of air, so whenever you turn the water on, it
Yeah.
then it comes out.
And yeah. They need those type of surroundings maybe to see
Maybe.
how good they have it. But
So when the Giants are in town, you can go get your talking Joe Davis bobblehead, as well as Clayton Kershaw's 3,000 strikeout bobblehead.
yeah.
And then trading cards on the last day of the homestand before they go to Arizona and then up to Seattle to finish everything out. Do you have a player of the week?
I went with Teoscar Hernandez because he played well, had meaningful games, contributed, and I feel like watching him play out in the outfield, watching him at bat, that he's Teoscar of old. He's smiling. He's back.
Huh, good.
So that's who I went with.
I went with Yoshi.
Yeah.
Another great outing. He's become or is becoming the ace on this team with guys who are, you look at it, you've got a couple of Cy Youngs in Blake Snell, 3 from Clayton. Tyler Glasnow probably should have one
Yeah.
from his day, at least his days in Tampa.
Yeah.
You've got all these great pitchers, and he's kind of coming in and taking over. And we'll see.
Yeah.
And
That's a
then
good.
the other question will be, will Shohei play right field for the Dodgers in the playoffs so he can also pitch out the bullpen?
Exactly. Yeah, we
More
will
on
see.
that coming. All right, time to take a little ride around baseball, hop in the bullpen card here, and check it out. We actually have 2 bullpen cards now. We have we got a backup, which is more like the original because it's taking a little bit longer on the F1.
There's more parts and pieces to an F1 bullpen cart than I think we realized.
Plus, we're trying to get Brad Pitt to come and take it out for the first spin, and kind of tough to get a hold of Brad Pitt, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'll hold it harder than I thought it would be. Anyway, so as always, when we fire up the bullpen cart and ride around baseball, we head directly to the MLB Players of the Week. Who do we got?
This week, we have 2 very familiar names in the American League of the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge is the American League Player of the Week. He hit .450, had 5 home runs, and a 1.760 OPS.
All right.
And
I have a question when we're done about Aaron Judge.
And then in the National League, nice to see this name here. Mookie Betts is the National League Player of the Week. He hit .462, 3 doubles, 10 RBIs, and 2 home runs.
I had thought about him as a Player of the Week too.
I did too.
And then I thought, he's been the player of the week a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't we just do him last week before as
I
well,
think,
or something
yeah.
like that? So
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, let's give it to somebody else. Cool. All right. So we know Mookie's not in the MVP discussion, but Aaron Judge is.
Yes.
But I wonder, because there's a lot of conversation about this. He's not far off his normal pace. He's right around 50 home runs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's been out, and yes, you know what? He's part of Yankee problems when it comes to defense.
Definitely.
So the question is, this year anyway, we've seen in the past, Miguel Cabrera. Most people thought that Mike Trout should have been the MVP that year. He should have 4 MVPs, but Miguel Cabrera was the Triple Crown winner, and he got it. We've seen with Players of the Week, somebody throws a no-hitter, they get it, or they have
Yeah.
some kind of milestone that's above and beyond, then a lot of times that player will get the Player of the Week. Do you think that the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, is the MVP over Aaron Judge based on what he's been doing this season?
I think yes, because he's a switch hitter. He's hit more. I mean, he surpassed what Johnny Bench's record. He surpassed Mickey Mantle's, or its record. He's making this it's history, and I think he deserves the MVP.
Well, I agree. And I think a lot of the reason that I think that is, yes, his numbers, he's doing as a switch hitter,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like he stopped catching.
Right.
He's still catching most of the games.
Mm-hmm. And
He's had
arguably, I'd say the catching a baseball game, 9 innings of a game. That's tough. It's hard on your body, and you're going through all of those pitches with the pitchers. You are kind of the captain of the field.
right. Well, and
And he's
he's
still doing that.
played about 148 games. Baseball per Baseball Reference, and Baseball Reference is usually about a day behind.
Mm-hmm.
So at 148 games, he played 153 last year. So he's probably going to surpass that. He's with that and his RBIs and being there day in and day out, I think he's earned it. And who's to say that this may be the only season he ever has like this?
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of times we look at these names and say, "Well, Aaron Judge, because he's MVP,
He's Aaron Judge,
and because he's Aaron Judge." And you can't overlook what he's doing in Seattle. Obviously hitting those home runs, but you just can't overlook that. I think
right?
the same thing there could be in the National League. Obviously, Shohei is MVP candidate, and but a lot of talk is also Kyle Schwarber, and because he's the National League leading with his home runs, but there's no comparison on what Shohei does and Schwarber. And Schwarber is a designated hitter. Last season, Ohtani was a designated hitter, and people still gave him crap about it. Like, oh, he's just a designated hitter. But they don't say the same thing about Schwarber, and then maybe that's because they expect Ohtani to be, playing every position.
Well, I think so. And I got to tell you, there's times when I'm watching a game, or I'll read if I don't see the game, but I'm looking at the box score or the
Mm-hmm.
summary of the game, and Shohei struck out 3 times,
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, we need more from you than this. I expect more from you.
Yeah.
And I think
there's a
everybody
higher
does.
expectation.
And
Definitely.
I think that, it's, I don't know about the money part anymore. It's just like the expectation of of Juan Soto. And I
Yeah.
was watching game the other night, and Soto's playing. He said, "Well, he hit 40 home runs, so far this season." And the thing is like, well, it took him a little bit of time to do that. No, you know what? I want you to look at 700 million that Shohei did, and he couldn't pitch because of the surgery and the rehab, but he did something nobody'd ever done before, and it didn't take him, and he just moved across town too, for all that matters.
That's right.
The difference between Yankee Stadium and or Citi Field is less
Right. Yeah.
than it is from Anaheim to Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
So he stayed in Southern California, moved to a different team in a different league, and set records that, not just Dodger records, but MLB records.
Mm-hmm.
And Juan Soto didn't do that.
No.
And they're like, well, and he signed for more money. And he was bad. Didn't even make the All-Star team. And everybody's like, well, but he should have been. No, he didn't make the All-Star team because he wasn't playing that well. Yes, the second half, he overcame all that and became the Juan Soto that we're looking at. But even then, he's the highest paid player. You expect him to come out the gate doing all the things to be the best player on your team. And I don't think he's the best player on that Mets team.
No, he's not. Not close. And then he wasn't, the Mets really overpaid.
Yeah. So when you look at that, he should have been, at the amount of money that he's making for them, he should have been the question. Even if Kyle Schwarber is also in the mix, it should have been Shohei, Juan Soto, Kyle Schwarber, but it should have at least been Shohei and Juan Soto. And not just, and the thing that gives, I think, Shohei the step up this season is that he's been pitching, and he's actually pitched pretty well. He's had one outing where it was kind of iffy, but even then it wasn't that bad.
Right.
So, and Kyle Schwarber, I think a lot of it is that Kyle Schwarber puts himself in a good position because the Phillies have played so well. I think the Mariners, who were never sure if they're going to make the playoffs because they have a iffy GM up there too.
Right. Yeah.
But this guy is a big reason why they're there, and he's having a career year.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a career year that may be the only career year.
So we'll talk a little bit more about, that's the one thing. It may be the only time. So we'll talk a little bit more about where teams are hanging in the standings. First, we just celebrated Roberto Clemente Day, and everybody gets to wear the 21 on their uniform. And I don't know if they still did it, but normally Puerto Rican players are able to wear 21. I didn't notice if Kike was wearing 21.
Yeah, I didn't notice either.
But they usually do that, and in past winners normally are able to wear the number as well. And big conversation, which we'll get into in just a second. But first, all of the this has always been the one award that we've been like, when is this announced?
Yeah, you never know. And it's a big award, but it's almost like, we need to award this. And they kind of like forget in a way.
And yet a lot of the players and a lot of teams are like, this is the best award, because you can only win it once, and it's not about how you play.
No.
It's about what you do off of the field. So why don't we start with, normally we always look into, we don't go through all of them. We just look at the Dodgers and the Angels. So why don't we look at who was nominated from the Dodgers for this year's award?
Yeah, so the Dodgers nominated Mookie Betts. He has a 50-50 foundation, and he and his wife do a lot in the Los Angeles area, but also in their hometown of Nashville. And they, and even when he was in Boston as well, so he's had this foundation a long time. But they make a big difference. In Los Angeles, they have the Dream Center, and so they do a lot there. So he is the nominee for the Dodgers.
And if he were to win, he would join Justin Turner, who's another guy who still does a lot of stuff in LA.
Yeah.
And has moved some of his things to Chicago and does stuff there. But a lot of stuff happens. I still hear things on the radio, the Dream Foundation and that. He was the winner back in 2022. Clayton Kershaw won the award in 2012, and the very first Dodger to ever win the Roberto Clemente Award. Any guesses?
Steve Garvey.
You picked correctly.
Oh. Yay, me. What do I win? What do I win, Bob? For the nominee from the Angels is Logan O'Hoppe, who does a lot of work with cancer research. He's had pediatric cancer. He hasn't had, but pediatric cancer patients. He works with them, going to visit. And he's had close friends that have been diagnosed with cancer. So he's done a lot in that.
Didn't even his dad,
that realm.
I think.
His dad, yes. Yeah.
And he, over the Players Weekend, he had a chest protector, which he had a lot of kids from the Children's Hospital, I think the OC Children's Hospital, sign, and he wore that through that. He's
cool.
He's had a below average season on the field, but he's definitely, when you see things, you see him. And what's interesting is I've seen him and Zetto both out at things, and Zetto's kind of like, all right, I guess I got to be here.
Right.
At least that's
part
what
of my
see.
Contract.
Logan O'Hoppe's like, yeah, I'm happy to be.
Yeah.
This I'm really excited about it. And it's just, I don't know how Zetto came up, as a kid, but
right.
So in the last years, it's been the players who have won been announced during like the first or second game of the World Series.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be any different this year. We'll see. The Roberto Clemente Award is considered baseball's most prestigious individual honor for major leaguers. It recognizes the MLB player who best represents the game through extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions on and off the field. Fans can vote for their favorite player as far as, who their nominee for. You can go and look. Each of them has a bio, so you can look and see who maybe there's a cause that they are behind and you're behind that too. You want to vote for them, but you can do that at mlbtogether.com/Clemente21. And you can vote now through September 28th. And the winner of the fan vote will count as one vote among those cast by the blue ribbon panel that will award the to whichever nominee it wins. But they're all there. If you go to that mlbtogether.com, you can read all of the bios and choose.
Do you know who the very first Roberto Clemente Award winner was?
Mm.
The first time it was given out was in 1971.
1971. I don't know. Tom Seaver.
No, that's not a bad pick. Willie Mays actually
Oh, well, that's bad. Yeah, that
was
makes more sense, though.
the very first one. No Angel has ever won it.
Oh.
And the 1 year they gave it to two players in 2014. Jimmy Rollins and Paul Konerko both received that. The St. Louis Cardinals have had more players than any other team
Interesting.
win the award, and only Willie Stargell, who won it in 1974, and Andrew McCutchen, who won it just a couple of years back, are the only Pirates to have ever won. So, yeah, it's interesting when you go through the list of all the different players who have been awarded that. So Albert Pujols was another Cardinal.
And I say he most definitely.
Yep. So anyway, so we'll find that out. And of course, last year it was Salvador Perez who walked away with that. Aaron Judge has also won, and like I said, and then recently retired Tony Rizzo won back in 2017. Well, the one thing that you can guarantee is that it doesn't matter if you get nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award. It has absolutely nothing to do with how you play or if you've spent any time on the wheel. Oh! We got so many wheels going, and they're all spinning so fast that I'm getting dizzy.
We do have a lot of wheels. There's so many guys that are on 60-day IL across MLB. It's crazy. But this one's a short one. As we get closer to the end of the season,
I
hopefully
think there's probably guys now that are ending up on. Wow, I am dizzy. The guys that are on there, that it's just kind of like the season's down to the end here.
Yeah.
Let's just put you on. Let's shut you down for the year. There's no reason to day-to-day In fact,
Right.
I think you're going to tell us about one guy that they day-to-dayed so long that by the time they decided to put him on the wheel, he would have been at the end of his wheel time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the minimum time.
Yes. But first off, Yordan Alvarez is on the wheel.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That my ankle hurts.
Yeah, I broke my ankle. And
yeah, see, I've never done that, but I've turned it like that where you're just going, it seems okay. And then, I didn't want to. The only thing that I've seen that's worse is I saw when Joe Theismann got his leg broke.
Oh, yeah, I will always remember that. Watching Monday Night Football, I was watching it with Dad, and you could hear it.
Yeah.
You could hear it snap. Oh, still remember that. Yordan Alvarez, he has a significant left ankle sprain, and he's going to be out for a while. You never know about a sprain. This one looks pretty bad. So you say 4 to 6 weeks, but we don't have 4 to 6 weeks of the regular season.
The only way that even then he wouldn't come back until potentially sometime into the World Series if they make it that far.
Right. So you really, that's a big one. So we'll see. And then you mentioned Zach Neto is on the IL with a left hand strain. And then Travis d'Arnaud is on the 7-day concussion protocol.
Which is something because Logan O'Hoppe just came back from the same concussion protocol.
Right.
We talked about him last week. Got hit with the bat in a warm-up from the, who was it? Jacob Wilson from the A's, I think is the one that hit him. And then next thing you know, Travis d'Arnaud's on concussion protocol as well.
Yeah. So crazy. And then Will Smith, who was hit in the right hand. He has a right hand contusion. He was day to day for 10 days, and then they put him on the IL.
The day he went on the IL was the day he could have come off the IL. Right. Obviously not, because he wasn't ready anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it's been good for Ben Roethlisberger.
It's been awesome. Yes.
And the pitching staff, apparently.
Yeah, because he's doing well. He knows how to maneuver with the pitcher.
Yep.
Maneuver the game.
Was that it?
That's it. That's all I got. It's really short.
All. You did say there was just a few of them there.
Yeah, it's really short.
So we've talked about some of these teams have already found their way to elimination. The first team out we talked about was the Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockies, done. They were out of it.
Like in August.
Early August that they were done. And then we've mentioned too now that the Angels, pretty much I think the A's are eliminated. If they're not fully, they will be here soon. Mm-hmm. But the A's are not in last place right now. And so the Angels have taken that. The White Sox eliminated. Minnesota's eliminated.
I would say the Nationals.
The Pirates.
The Orioles.
The Orioles are done as well. And, probably give it a few games here, just a couple of games, it'll be Tampa Bay as well, because we're down last 12 games. These are teams that, mathematically, maybe they're still kind of there, but they're out of it. If we can do right now, when we look at the potential playoffs, if we go, let's start off though. We know that Toronto has a decent enough lead that they're not playing the Yankees anymore. So they're probably going to win the AL East. Detroit also probably going to win the Central in the AL. But Cleveland has been working hard. Will we see them in Kansas City? Will probably be eliminated here before they even show up in Anaheim. Kansas City's playing the Mariners, and of course the Mariners are playing, to win their division and to make the playoffs. But we know Houston and Texas are playing each other, so Texas has a way to get in there. We'll see, if they're helping out the Asterix or if they're helping Seattle and themselves. Philadelphia. They will probably win the NL East, and we'll talk more about that next week. The Mets really will depend on what's going on. They're playing the Padres. So how will that work out for them? And they've got the last wild card spot, which we'll talk a bit more. The Brewers' first team, the Cubs, also look like they're got themselves into the playoffs, but can they take over and win the Central? I don't think so, but maybe. And none of these teams are really playing each other. I mean, because the Padres and the Dodgers aren't going to play each other out, but the Diamondbacks have been playing really well and are putting themselves into a spot to maybe get a wild card spot because of the loss, the Giants' losses, and then the Diamondbacks and the Giants are playing each other, and they still have to play the Dodgers. So we really, I think the Central and the East are the only two that are like really done. Even though I think Detroit will probably have theirs soon. Um, you know, as far as those last few games are concerned, with the wild card, the Yankees, and the Yankees, the Asterix, and Boston are the wild card teams,
Yeah.
and Cleveland is out by a couple of games. Texas is out by about 4. They can help themselves a lot by winning. Kansas City 7 games out. I really don't see over the next 12 them coming back around.
No, me either.
To that. And then in the National League, you got the Cubs, the Dregs, and the Mets are those teams. But like I said, Arizona is just a game and a half out. So what can we say?
Well, and the Dodgers will be playing Arizona. One of their they'll be going to Arizona, and then they'll be going to Seattle. So Arizona could, be a
and it
spoiler.
depends too what happens versus Philadelphia. What happens
versus
for
the
them
Giants.
versus the Giants, and that's 4 games. The Giants, if they're just a couple of games out of the wild card as well. So depending, both those teams, if they're pushing, being the Diamondbacks and the Giants, if they both want to get into the playoffs, they could potentially stop the Dodgers from getting there, or push the Dodgers, depending on what the Dregs do.
Right.
So, but as far as that goes, even though Atlanta's not officially out, they will be soon. Pittsburgh, Washington, Colorado, all out. Just like we were talking about that, Baltimore, the A's, the Angels, the Twins, and the White Sox, all eliminated from that. So there are, the thing is, though, is there's not a lot of teams that are playing each other other than this weekend when you have the Mariners and the Asterix playing one another. Most of these teams are not playing each other that are fighting for the spot.
Yeah, I think the big thing obviously for me is seeing, where will the Dodgers end up? But I think too the Padres, because you do have those spoiler teams, especially in the NL West. You have the Giants that have been have had their moments where they played really well, but Arizona has been playing really well lately. And will they kind of sneak in there? I don't know.
Well, I can tell you next week we'll have a better view.
Yes.
After a couple of these, but a couple of these may not be. When we're looking at the Mariners, we're looking at the Dodgers, the Asterix. We may not know till the last day.
Right. Which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I'm excited with these others. I want to see the Mariners and the Asterix, and I'd like to see the Angels pick up. And if the Mariners are playing well, I want to see the Angels play well to see if they hey, you could have a part of this.
Yeah.
And you could stop the Asterix from making it.
And everybody would root for them to do that.
Yes.
Because it's the Asterix.
Do something and that's also playing meaningful games. But yes. I like to see my team run away with their division and everybody else be tight.
Yeah.
And right now, the only one that's quasi run away with it, Phillies, because the Brewers, the Cubs have played close to them. The Brewers may have the best record in baseball.
Yeah.
But the Cubs, if they were in a different division, would be in a different, they'd be leading. Let's go back and look at that. I was just looking at the wild cards, but when you look at how many games the Cubs have won, they're really they would be second in the East. They would be first in the NL West.
Yep.
And if they were in the AL, they would lead all but the East in the AL. So it's going to be interesting. And also interesting is the Cubs are still in that spot, but Tucker is out
Right.
still. And I just read something that he left Chicago and is down in Florida rehabbing that. So will he be back to play
good
in
question.
the playoffs?
Yeah.
Or will he be, the prize of the off season?
Maybe. We'll see.
Will he go from Cub blue to Dodger blue in the off season?
That's the talk on the street.
We'll talk more about that once we're done with the playoffs. We'll preview what we're looking at for the hot stove. First, though, we got to get into the playoffs. We'll see what's happening. All right, that'll put a wrap on this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast. As always, we are available. You can always DM us through our or comment or anything through our social media, both Blue Sky and Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And, of course, our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. There's already, October playoff Brewers gear. I'm sure that as the other teams join in, you'll start seeing their gear. So if it's your favorite team, go do that. You know what? I even thought about getting a Brewers playoff T-shirt.
Oh,
just because.
Yeah, just because. Why not?
Why not? So that's all available there on the Fanatics on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. So next week, steps closer to the playoffs. We'll find out if the Dodgers are any closer. Will the Angels have any effect on the Brewers? We know it doesn't matter what happens in Colorado, because that's meaningless games for both teams. But we'll be able to see how everybody else has done, and like I said, have the Dodgers found their way into the playoffs or closer to that as we finish up the season. So still live baseball to be had. Go see some games or check in on games on TV. And whatever you do in anything that you do in life, never forget to swing away.